What's your story? What's your story? What's your story? What's your story?
Brad, what is your story?
What's your story? What's your story? What's up, guys?
Hi, everyone.
It is another Wednesday. It's another beautiful day in Los Angeles, California.
It's a little roasty toasty.
A little hot. Honest. We've had to open the garage door today because if we close the garage door, it's going to get way too hot in the garage.
Uncomfortable.
At some point, perhaps in the next season, I'll get an AC in here.
Yeah, maybe next season.
And
things to aspire for.
You know, we'll try to take it to the next level because everything's evolving.
It is rapidly.
Everything's ever changing and constantly evolving. Do you think that everything is? I mean, obviously everything's ever changing. I get that, but do you think everything's always evolving, or do you think there's plateauing, or do you think there's digression?
I think all of that can happen, especially when it comes to people. Can I tell you a favorite quote of mine? Mm-hmm. Okay, so it says, "Shame on me for changing. Shame on you for staying the same." Apply that to a relationship. Mm-hmm. That's what happened.
But does anybody truly stay the same? I mean, every experience shapes you and sort of.
Yeah, I think like some people, it's the root of who they are. They don't deter.
Right.
Which, I mean, could be good.
Well, they say that saying, lepers never change their spots.
Yes.
Like, people don't usually change at the core level.
Right, I agree.
But then again, some people do. You know,
I think if
it's
something
weird.
Traumatic happens to you, that can inspire you to actually change at the core level.
Right.
But I think it has to come from something awful happening in your life that forces you to change out of desperation.
Or super great, super positive.
I don't know about super positive. I mean, I like the idea of that, but I don't know if that. I don't know. I don't have enough experience with that.
Yeah, I'd like to think. I guess maybe I'm just being too optimistic, but I'd like to think that we're always evolving as a species.
Yeah, I think in general,
and I think technology and the internet is a good thing ultimately because everybody's able to learn by reading what people are posting, and it's educational, and I think it's good in that way.
Do you know what I'm saying? Politicians can't hide as much.
Well, so much is becoming more transparent now. Everything's moving towards transparency, which means everything's moving towards honesty, which I think ultimately is a good thing.
I think that's a great thing.
I mean, your ability to hide nowadays is
not great.
It's not good.
Not good at all.
It's tough to get off the grid and hide, and
yep.
And if you do, it's sort of like, what's your deal, dude? Like, why are you?
I feel like Apple products alone have made it so easy to catch a partner cheating or being shady. You know, because like they sync, right? Everything syncs to the cloud, and then maybe your partner borrows your iPad, and then text messages go there, and when they have it, and they're like, "What the fuck?"
I know. It's just like, if you're gonna get involved in like a side texting thing or something like that,
right.
You really need to.
I mean, you better get a burner phone, like in the wire.
I mean, like you better keep that phone like attached to your body.
Hell yeah, and don't have it synced to anything else, including your desktop.
Which sometimes you don't even know if it's synced.
You don't. Sometimes you don't even know.
Like you might update your software on your whatever, and next thing you know, it's like
your text message is going right there.
Everything's up there.
Yeah, exactly.
Has that ever happened to you?
This is what happened to me, and I'm going to tell the story because I'm honest.
There you go.
I had separated in my relationship. We were over. We were done. Mm-hmm. But we were still cool on good terms. But I left my iPad at the individual's house because I was using their computer. Mm-hmm. And I didn't realize I left my iPad there. And all of my text messages also go to my iPad. And I was texting with 2 other males, which is fine. Like I said, I was not with this individual anymore. We were done. We had been done for quite a few months. And he read all of the text messages between me and these 2 other individuals. And he got super angry with me and did not talk to me for 2 months. Even though he didn't technically have the right to be mad, like he went through my iPad, he had ended the relationship, it was discontinued. But I get it. Like it would be hard for me if I was reading him texting with 2 women. It just makes you feel like shit. But
right.
So that's what happened.
It's an exhausting thing, It's hard to do it, to maintain it. It always ends up ending in a clusterfuck. It seems to be, Yeah. From what I've heard, out there.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't know.
I wouldn't.
You're living the dream, Brad.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. And for those of you listening, I do have a slight cold. I'm working really hard to overcome it. So if I sound weird, that's why.
I don't think anybody, our listeners, I haven't been able to.
You haven't been able to tell? Oh,
no.
Because my nose and sinuses don't feel amazing at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you get sick often?
No, I don't. I mean, I'm like a twice a year top sick.
That's great.
Yeah, but this is what happened. I had a mental and physical I can't do life situation occur to me this weekend.
Wow.
And I think I manifested the sickness. That's what I think happened.
The central nervous system kind of just went down to a deeper level of shutdown potential?
That's what I think happened,
right. And then it radiated. It sort of triggered some cells.
Absolutely.
I once was told that you don't catch a cold, you have a cold inside of you, and it gets triggered.
Oh. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, it gets triggered.
Like the cold's always living inside of us?
It's always there. Yeah, but you either trigger it or you don't. It's always in you.
Shit.
So you don't really catch a cold. I don't know if that's true or not, but somebody told me that, and it was like, very
But how did it first get in there?
I think we have those cells.
Okay,
Just like we have fat cells and cancer cells, and some of them get triggered and some of them don't. But like we sort of carry them or something. I'm not sure if that's a thing, but...
I always wonder, with as amazing as science and medicine is these days, how have we not figured out a way to prevent the triggering of the common cold, if that's how it goes? Like, how have we not,
You'd think, one would think...
Right?
That we'd have a little bit better...
we have shots for other things.
Than like, what's the thing that everybody takes? Like cold and
Mucinex
flu,
and shit.
Sinex.
Yeah,
none of that
and
shit,
that doesn't...
Dude, none of it works.
No, it just helps diminish the symptoms slightly, but the shit still rides it out in your system.
No, dude, every time I get a cold now, it lingers for a week or longer.
I know.
And it's like...
And I feel like my life is over.
And like nothing puts a dent in it. The only thing that I've come across is Zicam. That's supposed to do anything. And I will admit that it helps a little bit. I've noticed something. But
some people say Umca works.
You would think by now, though, somebody would have some sort of way to knock out a cold in 24 to 48 hours.
I know,
like,
right?
You know what I'm saying?
We have immunizations for everything these days.
But the body, man, it's so fascinating, Sometimes it just shuts down.
It is kind of crazy, yeah.
And you overdo it. You trigger something.
Right. Right.
Or maybe you do just breathe it in, and I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
But
this is What's Your Story?
It's What's Your Story. It's What's Your Story.
Episode 7.
Folks, it's episode 7. Thank you all for those of you who've tuned in and caught some of these episodes throughout the summer, as we're rolling this out. And it's our first season of doing this, so it's been exciting. Wanted to do a podcast for, a couple of years now.
Yes, you have.
So, again, thank you to the lovely Chrissy Carpenter.
Hey.
Who has, come in to sort of get this thing off the ground and help me to make it a reality. So here we are in episode 7. We have an exciting guest today.
We do.
We've had many exciting guests, and we're just continuing on this consistent trend of exciting guests. Today we have actor, writer, multi-talented.
Yeah.
He's even a musician, singer, songwriter as well. Dylan Kussman.
I'm glad you said the last name because I did not know how to pronounce it.
Yes. We will be interviewing him soon.
Shortly.
Soon. And podcasts are fun.
So what's your story today, Brad? Or this week, for that matter?
My story is, there's a lot of exciting things going on. My new record's coming out next week.
Woo!
June 23rd.
Yep.
And it's called Highest Mountain, that many of you may have heard of. And I'm very excited to put that record out.
Yeah, so when you guys listen to this, it will be out. So go check it out if you haven't yet.
Yes, please.
Please check it
awesome.
out. And when you guys listen to this, Brad will have already played live on my show.
Yes.
So you can also check that out too. You can just go to theinsidenoise.com and it will be right there in the archives.
Hopefully, I think for season 2.
Yeah.
And I'd love to do a season 2 with you. It's like if there's a way to do this where it would be live, or perhaps we, do the podcast and then we post it.
Yeah, and then we post it like the next.
It's like
2 days
some
later,
sort of like relevancy where it's like.
I think that's a great idea.
You know what I'm saying?
Because then we can talk about current events, and people can join the conversation.
And then when we're plugging things that are coming up for people, that
Yeah.
it's like, okay, come and see them this week or something, and then it actually airs, in time.
Right.
So,
I think that's a great plan.
But I think that's a good approach. So all things in the future, and we'll get there. What's your story? What's your story? What's your story? What's your story? Da-da. What's your story? What's your story? Da-da. What's your story? What's your story? Welcome back, everybody, to What's Your Story.
What's
here.
your story?
I'm Brad Bird, and this is Chrissy Carpenter.
Hey.
And
who do we have with us?
We have the infamous one and only Dylan Kussman.
Infamous. That word has a negative connotation. That's almost along the lines of notorious.
Infamous, yeah, notorious. I mean, it's sort of
a criminal. You mean like an infamous? The infamous Josie Wales.
Yes.
Some people like infamous, though.
Yeah.
It's like it does it for them.
Is notorious more positive than infamous?
No, notorious is also still, I think,
as a negative.
Well, a lot of people like the Notorious B.I.G., so
yeah,
that could be good.
Yeah.
You could be the Notorious D.Y.L.A.N.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I'll go with that.
Has a certain ring to it.
Hi, guys.
Hi, welcome.
What's up?
How are you today?
Thanks for having me on your podcast.
Heck yeah, heck yeah. So
welcome
if you
to
guys,
the garage.
Yeah, if you guys don't know Dylan, which you might be living under a rock if you don't, but in the event that you have been, no judgment, Dylan is an actor, he's a director, he's a writer, he's a musician.
He's a Renaissance man.
He may have had a stint in Dead Poet Society. It is possible. Google it. He's the man.
I'm Brad's friend. That's what I am.
And you also directed Brad's video Highest Mountain.
I did.
You did, which was beautiful, and you shot it too, eh?
I did.
With a little
with the help from the drone dudes.
Drone
assist.
action.
We got an assist.
Yep.
You did have an assist.
But Dylan shot a lot of the ground stuff,
Yeah.
With Marnie's iPhone 6, which was
Yep.
some amazing stuff we got.
I know. Those phones are amazing now.
Technology's so rad.
Who's to say we could shoot a video with an iPhone 6, right, and have it come out like that?
Right.
Well, have you seen Tangerine?
I've heard things about Tangerine.
Movie shot on iPhone 6.
I have not seen.
It is on Netflix.
The whole movie shot on iPhone 6. That's kind of insane.
It's pretty damn good.
Have you seen it?
I have.
I have not, but I've heard about it.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's good. It's good.
So, what's your story, man? Today? How are you feeling today?
What's my story?
Brad loves the stories of the day.
The story of the day is tomorrow I have to go to someone's office and try to pitch them a television show.
Good luck.
And I am sort of still in the process of learning how to do that and figuring out, because I've never actually sold a television show.
It's okay. The first time for everything. You
But
got
I've,
this.
I've pitched television shows before. I've just never sold them. But there's sort of an art form to it. It's basically a 20 to 25 minute performance piece.
For sure.
Where you go in and they say, okay, what's the show? And that's your cue to start a 20, 25 minute monologue about, and it's supposed to come in a particular order. You kind of tell them what's the first scene of the show, and then you tell them what the world of the show is, and then you tell them all the characters, and then you pitch them the pilot, and then you pitch them the season, and then the season 2, and the tone, and whatever. It's also there's kind of a
this is an art form in itself.
There's a template to it.
So it's more than just the idea of what it's about. It's sort of like there's got to be some follow through about the plan.
Yeah, you got to present them
so
with the whole.
They can see that you understand how the thing works.
Yeah, right.
Do you perform one of the characters while you're there?
No.
No, you don't just
bust into... No, I perform...
into...
I am the creator.
Okay.
That's the part that I'm playing in the room is I'm the creator of the show.
What's the storyline of the show?
I don't want to go into that right now because you might steal it.
Top secret. I understand. Don't say it. I wish you a lot of luck. So how are you preparing for this?
But I'd have to kill you.
Is this something that you wrote a while ago, and that you're getting?
Actually,
I mean, is this something? It's a new evolution, like recent. I mean, how long does it take you to get this?
This is a show based on the web series that I started making back in 2008.
Right, I've seen some of that.
Okay.
So it's called The Steps.
Yes, The Steps.
And you can go type all one word, The Steps web series into YouTube, and you can bring up the first 2 seasons of that web series.
Oh, cool.
And it's about the web series is about a private eye, an alcoholic in private eye who's trying to live under an assumed identity in a small town in the South in order to avoid his criminal past.
Ooh.
And his criminal past is sort of creeping up on him.
Okay.
And the whole first season takes place in Chattanooga, Tennessee. I shot it while I was living there with local actors. And then the second season takes place here in Los Angeles, where ostensibly he has come back to try and clear his name and get the piece of evidence that will exonerate him from this horrible crime that he either did or did not commit. It's sort of...
Love that mystery.
He did it in a blackout.
Okay.
So this whole show that I'm designing about, which would be a full-fledged television show on Netflix or on Amazon, would basically be a prequel to the web series. It would be the sort of origin story of this guy and how he got to where he got and why he had to leave town in the first place. So,
so I have a question. So for those listening who are, there's a lot of actors and entertainers obviously out here, and if they're wondering, well, how did you go from web series to pitch? What steps did you take? Whose door did you knock on? What can you tell us about that?
When my writing career just started to accelerate in the last 3 years or so, my agent said, you need to get some television shows that you can pitch. So I reached into my well of material, and that was just a deep one that already existed. And I said, all right, I will make this into something.
Okay. And then your agent helped set up the pitch meeting?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
I love how when you have material that you still believe in, that you've written, it could be years old, but it still has a life of its own to continue to go back into, you know what I'm saying, to go back there and repitch it and redeliver it and repackage it, Well, but you might think it's trite and old, and maybe you've pitched it before, but then again, man, everything's ever changing, and you pitch it again, and something that you maybe just felt like was dead to you, you know what I'm saying, all of a sudden takes on a whole new life again. Isn't that just like kind of an amazing thing? Or did you ever get to that place where you thought that this thing that you're pitching was pretty much just kind of like you've gone down that road, it's kind of dead? Why go back there again? Or how did you... A
little bit. I resisted because I thought it was old and tired.
Right.
But all you need is one fresh set of eyes to watch it or see it or hear it or read something about it and go, that sounds cool, to make you go, well, maybe it is.
And then all of a sudden you look at it with fresh... I mean, when somebody tells to me, hey, Brad, I was just listening to this song of yours. I really love this song.
Right.
I listen to it with new, fresh ears again. I'm like, I get into it. You know what I'm saying? But if someone says something negative about a certain song or something to me, it's like I listen to it with like negative ears. It's kind of like it just instantaneously happens,
It's sort of the power of the creator. When you write something, when you write a song, that song defines a world. It's got its boundaries. It's got its definition. It's got what it's about. And that world exists apart from you. After you've recorded it and put it out on the internet or put it out on an album, that world exists apart from you. And it will outlast you. And that world is in existence for someone else to discover, even if you think that world is, you've put it in your rearview mirror and you're past it and you don't care about it. It's almost like a bubble that you created in your past, and it's always floating back there, and someone can still say, what about that? And you can say, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's kind of the power of recorded, filmed, or recorded music or anything.
Sure.
Is its ability to sustain itself,
Yeah.
And that was one of the things, because I directed that movie, Wrestling Jerusalem.
Yes, I wanted to ask you about that.
Based on my friend's one-man show, which is touring nationally.
Absolutely.
It's just this amazing piece of theater. One of the main reasons I wanted to make it was as a gift to him as a performer, because I knew it takes him a tremendous amount of energy to do this one-man show and go around the country and do it. Making a film of it, I gave him the gift of your work this moment when you're really germinating this and channeling this energy is captured on film, and you can have this for the rest of your life when you're an old man, and you can say, I did that, and someone can say, what was it like, and you can show them the movie.
Sure.
And the same thing goes...
And it's almost like, and by the way, you don't have to tour anymore.
Yeah. Well, now he just likes going and watching the movie and then answering questions after without having to perform it.
Cool. Right. That's really cool.
There you go.
Yeah.
Because the performance is the movie. I mean, the movie is the performance is the movie.
Right.
And the difference
powerful stuff. The difference between movies and recorded music to me in terms of the industry model is that movies are still a great source of financial. You can still make a lot of money with a movie and licensing and selling it to streaming networks and whatever. Recorded music, it's getting harder and harder to make money off of recorded music. Your recorded music, almost its primary function is a calling card for your live performance and selling tickets, which is where you as a musician will make money.
Right.
I mean, that's true to some degree.
Which is a much more labor-intensive way to make cash. But I mean, it wasn't like that in the 70s and 80s. Records,
Well, there was a record business, up until probably 10 years ago. Now it has moved to the live business, licensing and live, is really where it's all happening. But it's, really making live revenue. It only exists at like the top levels, to travel and to do what it takes to put on these shows. You would think that people would be making some money, but it's humbling when I talk to people that are doing this at a big level and they're telling me they're just breaking even, So realistically, yeah, it's a tough nut to crack, but I mean, it seems like it's moving that direction in film too. I mean, obviously, a movie could cost multiple millions of dollars to make, and now you can buy the DVD of it or something for $9 or something. It's like buying, an album, and now a recorded record is worth $1.
Yeah.
Right.
And songs are, you're getting a penny per stream or not even. It's just ridiculous. I mean, it is what it is. Everybody's dealing with it. So, I mean, we can wail about it all we want, but technology is completely...
Change the game.
Change the game.
Do you remember the Metallica versus Napster time?
With Lars.
I
guess Lars was onto it.
Well, you kind of look back at that moment as sort of a watershed moment when a big act like Metallica was seeing the writing on the wall, saying, "Wait a minute."
Well, they knew that they were losing money. Period. I mean, that's why they brought it up. That's why they made a huge court thing about it, because they looked at it and said, their management and their accountant was like, dude, you guys are losing hundreds of thousands of dollars. You know what I'm saying? So they didn't just talk about it because it was good for the music industry and other artists that are developing. They were like, we're losing hundreds of thousands of dollars because of this fucking guy, who started Napster. But I mean, I guess it was inevitable it was going to go there. Somebody was about to create that technology, and I don't know. I don't know if it's plateaued now. It's like it's hit bottom or something, and it can't really go. I mean, it can't really get much more. The pie can't be thinned out any more than it already is. It looks like we've kind of like plateaued at a certain bottom level here, and I think maybe it's only up from here. Maybe if somebody can restructure a way to pay artists more, but apparently there are, if you're super successful and your stuff's getting millions and millions of plays and views, there's money to be made. But if you're not getting millions and millions of plays and views, which very few are, it's a tough road. But then again, I've had this conversation with many, many, many people. I mean, if you want to be an artist, it's a bitch.
Well, I think
it's
and you're either doing it to make to get millions of views and make hundreds of thousands of dollars, or you're doing it because you love to do it.
Right.
And that's not.
I mean, you have to love to do it, and just this is what you do type of a thing. You got to, before you can even enter the realm of monetizing it.
That's right.
You have to really, truly, I think, become an artist. You know what I'm saying? And like becoming an artist is a process. Bless you.
I'm kind of sick.
No.
She's good.
I'm sorry, guys.
Do we have a beverage that we can get Chrissy?
I have one.
You got water? Cool. But anyways, what is it? I mean, how do you feel about your art these days? I mean, lots of successful things have happened in the recent couple of years, especially in the writing world, which is fascinating to me, because I think at the core of everything that happens out here in Los Angeles, or in making film, or is at the core of everything is the story, right? is the writing. It starts with a script. You know, when did you? I mean, I know acting has been something that you've predominantly done, right? But when did you get into writing? When did you know how to?
I'm 46. I started acting in theater when I was 11. I did my first film or television role when I was 14, I think. And then I had my big film break when I was 17 in Dead Poets Society.
Yeah.
Chrissy?
Yeah.
Do we need to get you to a hospital?
No, I don't
Because
think.
we can call the ambulance right now.
Thank you. Just give me a minute. You guys just keep talking. I'm fine.
California cold.
I'm worried about her.
It's okay.
A little bit.
It's like a thing in my throat. It's like a thing.
A little bit. A little bit. Can we get you know what? There's like a lozenger.
There you go.
Over there
Lozenge.
in the music tray. I would get it for you, but I'm like stuck in this chair behind.
We got it
Because
for you.
it's so hot. Is
There
that
you
why you're
go.
stuck in the chair?
It's just I'm just wedged,
You are wedged.
slightly wedged. You definitely. This calls for a suckler,
Sorry,
as
guys.
I would call them.
I'm totally effing this up.
Oh, dude, you're in good
You're
shape.
amazing, Dylan.
You're in good shape right now.
Thank you.
Go there.
Prince you.
Problem solved, right
Problem
there.
solved.
Ricola.
Not only can Dylan write $1 million scripts, but he can retrieve lozenges. Speaking of the mummy, which
So yeah,
The
so
mummy.
the
His
state
ghost.
of my art. That's what Brad was asking. With the state of my art.
Yeah, like as an
The
artist.
what's happened in the last 3? I've been an actor, like I said, since I was
Yeah.
14. So what's that? 32 years I've been an actor, and I've been a writer since I was about 20. I wrote
Did
my
you
first
know when you
screenplay.
were 14 and you were a teenager like that? Were you like I'm stoked to do this, or was
Yeah.
it sort of like I've got
Well-
some friends that are doing it, I might as well try to do it?
I grew
don't
up in
know.
a family. My mom and dad are in the business. My dad worked for ABC Television for 46 years. My mom is an actor. She's been an actor her whole life.
So did they kind of push you in the direction?
No,
or
my
was it just
mom
sort of-
took me around and got me into commercials when I was a baby.
Right.
I was in my first commercial when I was 6 months old.
cute.
Because my mom was driving me around for
Yeah.
stuff, and then she got tired of it. And it wasn't until I turned 11 that I said, I want to do that. I want to try out for a play down the street. So I did.
Mm.
And then through doing 4, 5, 6 plays at the Glendale Community Theater, I got an agent, and then I did an episode of Silver Spoons, and I did an episode of Days of Our Lives, and I started doing some
Yeah.
stuff at TV, and then I got I'm repeating myself now. I did Dead Poets Society when I was 17. That came out when I was 18. I went to school at UC Berkeley.
Yeah.
I took off. I left Hollywood and I went to school and I became a history major at UC Berkeley. And I did a lot of theater and I started a band. I started playing music. I got into
Right.
my guitar, songwriting. I wrote scripts. And so I just started.
Do you
to
kind of
become-
wish that you never went there and just stayed here and just kept doing the next film?
Never in a million
Because
years.
I mean, after that role in
No
Dead
way.
Poets Society,
I needed to get out of here.
yeah,
I needed to get out of here.
shit got nuts, huh?
Well, I just know it wasn't that it was God nuts. It's just that I grew up here. I needed to get away from my home to go to school. I
Right.
needed to go become a human being.
Right.
I didn't want to become. I think even then I had this sense that I didn't want to become a lifelong Hollywood denizen. I wanted to grow. I wanted to expand. I wanted to become bigger. I wanted to try something new. And Berkeley felt new when I went and visited that campus. It's still California, but it still felt.
Did you get a lot of people in college being like, "Dude, you're the dude"?
Of
from-"
course.
I mean, of course. Right?
Yeah, because it had just come out. You know,
Was that a good feeling?
definitely.
Of course, right?
Definitely. Yeah, it felt really
Did
good.
you make friends rapidly because of
and
that?
I started doing theater, and people knew, they'd see that on my resume and go, oh, and they'd cast
Right,
me. And I
of
did
course.
Romeo in Romeo and Juliet in the Park at San Francisco Shakespeare Festival in 1993. I did Henry V in a pizza parlor basement with this great company called Shotgun Players. I did leads in Pinter plays, and
Yeah.
I mean, I was, kind of digging my fingers into the soil of my craft in a way that I wouldn't have if I'd stayed here and kept on chasing the next movie, the next TV
So you went
show.
out. It's almost like you went out there and
Dig.
got your live legs.
I did, and I made some
Right?
good friends, and
Yeah.
I learned how to play music. I sort of explored the whole idea of performance energy and performing music in front of people as opposed to theater. That whole, it just sort of...
Yeah, the guitar. I mean, so you kind of stumbled across it in college, right? Guitar and playing and songwriting.
I had one of my best friends, 2 of my best friends were in a band back in high school, and that's when I first was exposed to the instrument of guitar and was
Sure.
taught my first couple of chords, and and whatnot.
Just all you need is a couple chords, right?
Yeah.
Like Lou Reed says, you need two chords in
the
the truth, or is it 3 chords in the truth?
And I mean, I played piano when I was a baby, or when I was a kid. I quit that. I played clarinet through junior high. I quit that. And the thing that attracted to me most about the guitar, maybe it did for you too, was just that, you could teach me 3 chords and I can play almost half the rock songbook.
Right.
You can just sort of be like, hey, and now I'm playing Louie
Did you
Louie.
know, you didn't know that back then, though?
Now
you were just like, all I know is 3 chords. I need to know so much more. Or
I just learned E, A, and B, or in D or something, and I just was off and running.
There you go.
And that was enough to sit around and try and do that for an hour. That's fun.
Isn't it amazing, though, how many songs out there are simply
3 chords.
E, A, and D, and maybe a C or something? You know what I'm saying? Like, even some of the biggest hits of all time are like 4 chords or whatever.
Right.
It is really, it's strange to go there and to discover all that and then to come back to it and realize it's not as complex as you might thought. But I remember going through a phase where I thought like learning covers was going to be this crazy difficult thing, and like, but then learning a lot of covers, made me realize that it was pretty simple.
Mostly it's about memorizing lyrics to me.
Yeah.
Well, when you go to learn a Bob Dylan song and you realize that's 2 pages of poetry. I mean, you got to, if you want to perform the song for somebody, you got to know
5 stanzas.
Learning verses 5, 6, 7, and 8 is always the challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but Dylan's the only one that really writes stuff in like 5 different verses. I mean, he's one. I mean, not too many people do that. It's pretty straightforward stuff.
Well, still, I'm impressed when you do your Ryan Adams covers and you know them all the way to the end. I mean, I knew the first half of them, and I hear you singing, and I go, oh, yeah, that song. But then the second half, I go, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, that part. You had to learn those, and that to me, once you've got pattern of the song down.
But as an actor, though, you have to memorize lines. So you'd think that your memorization skills were pretty good and transferable to memorizing songs.
Of course.
Right?
Yeah, but it's, it's a muscle, and it gets exercised or it doesn't.
Yeah.
But so anyway, I moved back down here to LA in 2000, and I kept pursuing acting and writing. But it's only in these last 3 years that things have really started to pick up for me as a screenwriter. And I worked on. And
I would say pick up would be maybe like not the right word for it, more like explosion.
Accelerate. Yeah, I worked as a production writer on Mission Impossible: Rogue Nation. And then I worked as a writer on The Mummy that just came out.
Yeah, I feel like we're glazing over that. We need to say like big fat congratulations.
Thanks.
It's
man, yeah.
Over 165 million internationally, I believe. So hell
well,
yeah.
Everything Tom Cruise does is gigantic.
Yeah,
right?
they've all been Tom Cruise projects that I've been working on.
Yeah,
those 2, and then I recently did 3 weeks of rewrite work on the new Mission Impossible 6. So I've become sort of a person that.
And you
Chris
were in
McQuarrie
Jack Reacher as well.
I was in Jack Reacher.
12, yeah.
Yeah, but it's interesting that
Those are cars, people, because we're in a garage.
I mean, I love coming up with stories, and I love indie films. I love good stories. Those movies that I just mentioned are ones that have now led to this sort of career upswing in terms of my visibility, in terms of my ability to work in the field. But 2 of them are sequels to a long-running franchise. And The Mummy is the 6th or 7th or 8th reboot of an idea. So when you talk about my art, it's interesting because I do have these conversations with myself and my wife about deals with the devil and selling your soul. And because you probably couldn't qualify these last 3 years as that for me. I have basically been presented with some opportunities, and I've just been saying yes because I want them, and they're a way for me to work and for me to support my family. I have a 5-year-old son, but in terms of what I want to say or what I want to do as a 46-year-old writer, musician, or whatever, I don't know where I am right now.
Isn't that the core essence, I think, of as an artist? Is like there's something that you want to say, right? There's something that you want to do, or you just like it's sort of just the practice, the craft of doing art.
Yeah, there is that.
The execution of it. It's
you know what Chris McQuarrie always says to me. He says, "You're not a professional screenwriter until you have to write a screenplay that you absolutely do not want to write.
Oh, I like that.
You, Brad, are not. I could say that to you. I could say you're not a professional songwriter until you have to write the theme song for a television show that disgusts you, and you have to write. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If I said, I'm going to pay you more money than you've ever gotten for a piece of music in your life to write a theme show for this animated Disney show about trucks and dolls, and I need a nice bright thing for that. There would be a part of you that you would right now you'd say, absolutely, fuck yes, I'll do it, and I'll give it to you by the end of the weekend. But part of you would be grappling with the idea of, God, is that really what it is?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Sure. But then
you've had you're in a privileged spot where you're about to put out an album that are songs straight from your heart that you believe in, that you have loved and that you've nurtured along, and that you've fostered in your life and as a musician.
So, but are you saying you've had to be in that situation? Yeah, where you've had to write stuff that you weren't into?
Well, I'm not saying that I'm not into the Mission Impossible movies or that I'm not into the Mummy movies, but I would say that if you had come to me 3 years ago and says, what do you want to write? Those probably wouldn't be the things I would say to you.
Right.
But those were the opportunities I was afforded.
Right.
Now, was there like an immense amount of difficulty going? I mean, how did you know how to? I mean, I know with your background, with acting and stuff like that. Like, how did you know how to do this? How to just, I'm going to fly to London and work with Tom Cruise on Mission Impossible: Rogue Nation. I mean, how did you know what to write and how to and how to present it in the right way? I mean, obviously, what you wrote is what is a big part of like what ended up being in the movie.
Yeah,
which is incredible.
Yeah. Luck is, what is it? Luck is opportunity meets preparation.
Right.
So I've been preparing. I've been writing for the past, I've been writing since 20. I've been writing screenplays for the 26 years.
Okay.
I wrote, produced, and starred in my own web series that sort of forced me to kind of generate
So this
material.
you've been doing this.
So when Mission arrived on my plate, I was ready to rock it.
Mm-hmm.
I was ready to, and trust me, that experience was trial by fire, because I got off that plane and they needed me to start turning out pages yesterday. And I had people, from the moment I finished reading the script as it was, I had people saying, is it finished yet?
Right.
So operating under pressure. I'd been on sets for movies and television shows since I was 14 years old.
Right.
I knew how they worked. I knew how to have productive conversations with actors, with the director, with the producers, with the studio people. I knew how to handle those interactions. So I wasn't overwhelmed. I kind of recognized the situation. It felt as crazy and as high pressure as it was familiar. I'd been there.
It's sort of like you were ready for it.
I'm ready.
It made sense.
That's beautiful. And I,
it's beautiful when you hear about these opportunities that come along and it seemed to be at the right time.
Yeah. And I approached the whole thing from a couple of very basic, things that you and I have talked about a lot. Being of service. Not to me. I'm trying to be of service every day to the project and to the people making the project. Right. And number two, I was constantly sort of infused with the feeling, and I expressed the feeling of there's a solution. Anything that was wrong, it can be fixed. I don't know what the solution is yet. But I know there's going to be one. But I know there is one.
Well,
that sort of thing was infectious.
When you come at something like that in a positive way like that, where you're able to have the cognitive ability to be like, you know what, I'm going to be of service to this thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just changes everything, man, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah.
It's
an interesting skill.
It really does. And it obviously resonated with
I don't even
the
know
people
if
I worked with.
It's a skill, really. It's more of like
I think it is.
muscle memory sort of thing.
I think it's a skill to be able to do that and to not say, "Oh, I don't feel like doing this," and you override that and you say, "But the project needs this."
It's a service to the project. It's a spiritual. It's a spiritual sort of mindset. It's a bigger, more.
You're coming from a spiritual perspective. Speaking of spiritual, what's it like working with Tom?
I feel like that was a loaded question.
No,
I feel like you loaded that up.
That's like kind of what I feel like too.
What's your story, man? It's all about vulnerability and truth.
Man, all I can say about that guy is he is so dedicated.
That's what I've heard. He's very dedicated
Dude's
to his
super
work.
focused, huh?
He is so dedicated to storytelling and to his craft and to filmmaking, and I've never been around anyone like him.
I mean, it's safe to say he's the biggest movie star in the world, right? Would you? I mean,
you could make the case,
right?
You could make
one of.
I mean, I've
sure.
never, honestly, I got to admit, I will totally. I mean, I'll go out there. I'm a fan.
Yeah,
I've been a Tom Cruise fan.
Me that.
Yeah, and I mean, Scientology aside and all that kind of stuff. I mean, look, live and let live, right? Who's going to judge? That would be a skateboarder.
Yeah, he sucks.
Going by.
I'm just going to go ahead and say that.
Doing all kinds of.
He was riding a rail out there.
I know. I was like, is he right there?
I don't know if that was an ollie, but I think it was some sort of.
I think maybe
it was an ollie.
There was a terminology for that, but it wasn't an ollie.
Do you want to hear a good haiku with the word ollie in it?
I would love to.
It was like a fakey slide.
Yes, please.
Ready for a haiku?
Yep.
Yes.
I skate on your grave. Your bony fingers reach up. I ollie your skull. Wow.
Were you the writer of that magnificent
No, I
haiku?
read that on a wall of a bathroom somewhere.
And it just
Dude, was that what
was
did
committed
Natus,
to memory?
Dude, did Natus Copus write that?
I don't know, maybe.
Circa,
Isn't that good?
That is good.
Circa 93 with
Probably. Yeah, probably was around 90,
Animal
the early
Chin.
90s.
Yeah. Were you,
sounds like an early
were you a
90s.
skateboarder?
No.
You never went through that phase?
Speaking of
Interesting.
90s, I loved on your resume that you did an episode of Punky Brewster. I was like, what?
Oh, Soleil Moon Frye. Soleil Moon Frye.
There's a
Love her.
name,
One of
Soleil
my
Moon
favorite
Frye.
shows.
Yeah.
It's such a
she's
Hollywood name.
Sweet. She's sweet. She opened a clothing store down on Larchmont.
Ooh,
A
love
kids'
that.
clothing store. I don't know if it's still there,
Cute.
but she did. Yeah, I saw her in there.
And also, I think we should touch on, you do some charity work too, right? You just did a fundraiser for Loop the Loop back in May.
I supported my friend Brian
Yeah.
Callanan, who's doing that up in Seattle. Yeah.
Is that GoFundMe still running?
I think it is. I think it is still up. You can go find that Loop the Loop, and it's LOOP the LUPE.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome. Have you done other charity work or support in that kind of field before?
I have. I for some reason at someone I was taught that good deeds are they only count if you don't tell anybody about them.
Oh, I've heard that. Yeah, like you're not supposed to talk about the
like if you help
right.
if you help the old woman across the street, don't go spending the second half of the day saying I helped the old woman across the street.
No, I get what you're saying.
You're dissipating all that karmic energy.
Right.
It's supposed to just be.
Well, I guess more along the lines of, is there any causes that you support that you want other people to be aware of and have them support them too?
Make your monthly contribution to Planned Parenthood.
Hell yeah!
And make your monthly contribution to the
ACLU?
Yeah, that's right. Those are my two. Thank you.
You got it. You got it. Those are all the Californians too right now.
Yep, they do positive work. What I really liked about finding out about Planned Parenthood is you can make your contribution to a specific Planned Parenthood office. You don't have to just make it to the national office.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah.
So I was able to, as my wife's from Tennessee, I was able to make my contribution to the Nashville
and I
Planned
think
Parenthood office.
Any in the southern states probably need as much contribution as possible. That's fantastic. I love that. Yeah, guys, get in there.
So, like, as an artist, I feel like you're in a really good place, musically speaking too. I've been very impressed with your writing and your ability to play and sing and craft songs.
God, I haven't written a song in a year, dude. I'm serious.
But you've got a nice little repertoire of stuff.
I mean,
yeah,
you did write a huge film though, so
I know, but it's
I've been a little busy.
Since I had my kid. He doesn't really get into me playing. It's been harder for
the
me
guitar.
to,
he gets mad when you play the guitar.
Yeah, and it's hard to sort of say I'm going to sit here and play my guitar now instead of play Monopoly with you, instead of play chess with you.
Right.
The guitar is.
You have to say I'm going to make the guitar my baby now, not you.
Right.
And I'm having a hard time with that.
I can understand.
So I'm just
you got to get him into guitar, and then you guys can do it together.
Yeah, I tried that.
Nope, didn't happen.
I tried that. And he tried violin. He took violin for a little bit too.
Cute.
He was doing pretty good, and it's not happening anymore.
That's amazing. At the age of 5,
yeah,
he was taking violin.
It was all self. We didn't make it.
Wow.
He asked.
It's kind of awesome.
And there's this little music school down on Larchmont, and I said, well, let's go in there and see what they do. We walked in there, and the guy says, and there's my 5-year-old, or I guess he was 4 at the time, and the guy says,
That's so cute.
we have infant music classes where we just let the kids sort of bang on drums and play some tambourines and blow through some lutes, and they kind of get the idea. And my son just looks at me and goes, I want to play the violin.
Oh, I love that.
And he goes,
Okay.
well, we normally don't start violin lessons until students are 5. But if you want to, and we got him a little violin, and he's
like, I want to play the harpsichord.
He just goes, no, you don't understand. I don't want to go bang on things with other little children.
Right.
I know what I want.
Where do you think he got the interest in the violin?
I have no idea. We play the classical music station for him sometimes in the car.
Maybe.
There you go.
He likes
And
that.
so how long did the violin last?
About 5 months. I mean, we
That's
rented
not
him an
bad.
instrument, and
That's
he
not
went every
bad.
week. The problem came with the practice between the lessons. He just didn't
yeah.
want to do it anymore.
Right.
And we started saying, you don't have to practice, but if you're not going to practice, we shouldn't take the lessons because the teacher says you have to practice. The practice between the lessons is where the learning happens.
Right.
And it became such a struggle, and I finally just said, I don't care enough
To make,
about whether you're good at this instrument at the age of 5 to make you do this. So let's just quit, okay? And he went, okay.
You know what? I bet he'll revisit an instrument when
He
he's
could.
older.
He's got exposed. He got to
Yeah.
read some music. He got to see the little black notes on
and the
on
fact that he
scale
came to it
mean
on
notes.
his own, I bet you he'll come back in a couple of years. That's
Good.
cool. That's great. So, out of all the arts that you're involved in, what is there one that you love the most? Like, you love writing the most, you love directing the most, you love acting the most, or
Acting is just something I've done my whole life.
yeah,
I feel like the opportunities for me as an actor have been slowing down the last few years, so the writing has been taking over. But I will say that having directed my first feature film just recently, I'm intoxicated with the director's chair.
that's fantastic.
I'm intoxicated with it, and I want to be back in there. I want to direct another film. And so directing and writing would probably be at a tie for top, and acting is the good old loyal pup dog at my feet.
Right. Okay, that's awesome.
It's so great, man, to just sort of get behind the camera, in front of the camera, create content, write, do it all. You know what I'm saying? I was just talking to this with a buddy of mine recently just about, if you're an artist, it's like, it's so fun to exercise different areas of being an artist, photography, acting, writing, music, painting, and it's like, it's okay to go there. I think for a long time, everybody was super caught up in just being good at one thing. Like, dude, you're a director, don't, you know what I'm saying? And then
Right.
I don't know what happened, whether it was technology or something happened over the past 5 years, or maybe even longer. It was sort of like, hey, you know what? Get your thing on. If you want to go and scratch that itch and do some other things, it's okay to do it. You know? And all of a sudden now it seems like everybody's kind of doing a little bit of everything these days, and it's like, I mean, I totally respect those people that just do that one thing, that just do music, and that was me forever, and I was super attached to it, and that's essentially at the core, of my soul is what I do. But man, I gotta tell you, I'm like almost getting more into painting, than I ever have before, and really just, and wanting to learn more about other things.
Yeah. Well, it's like athletics. It's cross training.
Yeah.
The tennis player swims and plays basketball and lifts and spins and does, because all that feeds back into his tennis game.
Right.
And yoga feeds back into the gymnastics.
I feel like
why can't we think of it the same way as creative people? And it really has a lot to do, I think, with America and specialize and what do you want to do with your life? Are you this or are you that? And there's a certain limitation to that mindset, instead of just saying, you know what, I just want people to know how I feel.
Yeah.
And the only way I'm going to find out how let people know how I feel is with whatever tools are at my disposal.
Yeah.
The canvas, the brush, the guitar, the camera, the thing.
Or the microphone.
Or the microphone.
That's why this podcasting is another artistic expression, just to sort of connect with people in a different way. You know? And I just, I think it's there's never been a better time to be an artist. You can have a direct connection with the universe, and you don't just need that middleman to give you the green light to do something. I mean, of course, that still exists on many different levels, and Hollywood is an incredibly difficult nut to crack.
If you are desperate, if you really want, the millions of views and the hundreds of thousands of dollars, but like you say, the fact that you and I could go right over there and record a song right now, put it up on the internet in 15 minutes, and someone in China could hear it is fucking amazing.
That
it's
is
incredible.
Amazing.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
And we have never been in that era before.
Totally.
So make your art, artists.
Yeah, do it.
Get
I want to
out
know
there
what
and
you all
make
have
your
to say.
art.
Just, as they say,
Please.
And
we
if you
need
wanna know
you.
what-
We need you now.
Exactly.
We do. And if you want to know what Dylan has to say, Dylan, where can people find you on social media?
At Dylan Kussman on Twitter. That's the only one I do.
That's what I looked for you everywhere else. I was like,
Straight
I
up
think he's
Twitter.
only on Twitter.
I had to get off of Facebook. It was sucking
It
my
does suck your
brains
life.
out.
And you don't do Instagram either.
Nope.
You are several hashtags on Instagram. That is another way I found out information on you. I looked at your hashtag.
Oh.
Yes, so there's a lot of photos on you on Instagram if you look at your hashtag.
Do you have a website?
No.
Oh.
My
Just straight
website.
up.
My
Look at
website.
Mr. Mysterious.
My website is my IMDb page.
There you
If
go,
you want to know
folks.
what I'm up to or what I've done,
What you've done.
Get on
what I'm
that
up to,
too.
I'm on IMDb, and you can check out.
What does IMDb stand for?
Internet Movie Database.
Internet Movie Database. How long has IMDb been around for?
I think
15 years?
20
definitely
years.
at least 15 years.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It's interesting how it's the main only go-to site for actors,
I know.
right?
Yes. I don't know why.
It's just, there's nothing else. There's never been anything else. Which
And I can
kinda,
put up my photos on there, whatever photos I want.
if you have IMDb Pro.
It's if you have IMDb Pro.
That's
which
the
I
thing.
do.
Of
'cause I'm
course
so
you do.
important. And
need to get
it's
that
an
again.
automatically updating resume. There's no reason for me to a website.
Yeah, look at Dylan. He doesn't need a website.
Well, it's just that's where my
it does.
CV
It all
is.
goes
That's
there.
my CV. If you want to see
Absolutely.
my CV, and if you want to know what I'm thinking about today, you can come follow me on Twitter.
There you go. And you do a lot of retweets of people, which
I
I
do.
love. Look at your support.
I do.
It's fantastic.
I do. I was told a long time ago that if you want anyone to retweet your stuff, you better get out there and start retweeting some people.
This is true. This is a true
That's the
story.
game. That's the game you got to play.
And always put
Yeah.
hashtags.
You got to give to get,
Yeah.
right?
You do
People
gotta
lose
give
me
to
with the
give.
third hashtag.
Oh.
You lose
Really?
me on the third hashtag.
Yeah, I know. Do
Is
you
it-
like?
is that a thing?
Well, I just do hashtags as like another funny way to communicate, which I
That's
think
true.
is what most people
Yes.
do. Unless I'm chiming in on something significant, then I'll put a real hashtag.
Right.
Yeah.
I think the general rule is 3 hashtags. You've covered it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, that's enough.
Yeah, I don't think there's need for more.
Some people just full on do the like ...
Their
give it a
tweet
space.
is just hashtags.
Then it's just like
Yeah.
a whole.
Oh.
There's like a space and dots,
Yeah.
and then it's like 15 hashtags or something like that. I mean,
You're like,
I don't know.
"What?"
Who knows?
But this has been another installment of What's Your Story, Brad. It's
Another
time.
segment.
It has.
What's your story? Has come and almost gone.
Brad, where can people find you on social media?
I usually just direct people to my website,
That
bradbirdofficial.com,
works,
and then
too.
from there you can splinter out into the various
Various
social media
parts
channels.
Of Brad. Yeah.
And what about yourself, Chrissy? What's going on with you?
You can look at my website, chrissycarpenter.com. You can find
Mm-hmm.
all of my social media and my show there too, if you feel the need, guys. So
Yes,
have
and I'm
at
going to
it.
be on your show tomorrow.
You are going to be on my show tomorrow, but when people listen to this, it will already be posted. So please check out theinsidenoise.com and you can see Brad's live performance.
Absolutely. Dylan, thank you, man.
Yes, thank you.
It's an inspiration to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Sure. Sorry for my coughing fit, everyone.
This is great.
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm just glad it stopped. I'm glad you're okay.
me too.
I feel like we really went through a journey with you today.
We did.
Thank
you got
God we
ill.
had a Ricola.
Yeah, we had the lozenge.
That and
You know?
Andrew in the back over here.
Yeah.
Whatever. Whatever
Andrew-
was
Andrew.
Whatever Andrew was doing over here, checking out music.
Yeah. I don't know.
Oh, what's your
more will
story,
be
folks?
revealed.
What's your story?
Revealed.
More will
That's
be
another
revealed.
thing.
I don't think I can handle any more from Andrew. We saw enough.
Yeah, a little taste of
I
Andrew.
saw nipple. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you guys are having an awesome summer. And we've got like 3 more episodes
3 more
left.
episodes.
On What's Your Story? So
And season 1's done.
So peace and love. Try to be kind out there to somebody today, and we will see you soon.
Soon. Bye,
Take care.
guys.
What's your story? What's your story? What's your story? What's your story?
Brad, what is your story?
What's your story?